This is a demonstration of single crochet. So you create your slip knot, put the cut end of the thread in front of your hand, cross it over from lower right to upper left, face your hook under, go under the top of the X on the right side and go over the left upper part of the X. Pull the X off your hand and tighten so that you create a slip knot. Slip knot comes completely out if you were to pull it apart. Now you need to put the yarn in your hand with the correct hand positioning, and that kind of looks like this, forms a little sideways V shape. Okay, and I want you to chain, let's chain 8. So that's 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. I chained 8. Now I'm going to chain for single crochet 2 additional chains. And those 2 additional chains become kind of like it's like a fake single crochet in your next row, like that. We're going to pass over this chain and kind of add to it. So with single crochet, you chained an extra 2 after you chained 8. You're going to skip those 2 and put your crochet hook through the front of your 3rd chain from the right. When you put it through, you can just place it underneath that very, very top thread here. When you get to this side, this yarn that is held over this index finger is kind of waiting for you, so you can just hook the crochet hook over from right to left, capture it, and bring it through your chain. Just bring it right through. Yarn over and bring that through the 2 loops that were on your working area of your hook. So that's how to do the first single crochet. The chain 2 and skip 2 thing is only done on the end of a row when you get to the end of the row. For the next one, I'm going to go directly into the next chain. What's important is to know where the next chain is. So if you look at this area right here, you'll notice all of these loops or yarns attached to this area. When you pull, it kind of pulls this loop, this hole open even more, so the hole gets bigger. That area is where you were just in. So you don't want to go into that area again. You want to go into the next chain over, underneath the very top thread, the thread at the top, yarn over, pull that yarn back through the front of the chain, yarn over, and pull through. So let's do that all the way across to the last chain. Okay. So this is your first pass and you're working into your foundation chain. If something does not look right, that means you probably did not do the single crochet right, so you should take it out just to the point where things don't look right, where you might have messed up. If you messed up, it's not a big deal, just take it out. Okay, some people actually work into their last knot, some people don't. It's up to you. So here we go. I went all the way across, and sometimes when you pull a little bit tighter, the single crochet could get a little bit lower in that area, but that's single crochet. That's what it looks like after you do your first pass and work into your foundation chain, what I call the foundation chain. If you look really carefully, you'll notice that the chain is now laying kind of horizontally on top of this wall here. So it's kind of different, a little bit different. When you get to the end of this first row, chain 2 additional chains at the end of this row, like that. Now you're going to go and flip this little piece of crochet from right to left, like this, from right to left. Whoop. If your crochet hook falls out, just stick it back in. Now I chain 2, so I'm going to skip 2. This little loop that's holding the yarn on the crochet hook is not a chain. That's your slip knot. That doesn't count. Just count the one underneath and the one under that. Now I'm going to go underneath the chain. So I'm going under the chain. I'm not going under one piece of thread. I'm going under both pieces of thread that make up the chain. Yarn over, pull through, yarn over, and pull through 2. So I chain 2 and I skip 2. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to go under the next chain. If you look over here and I pull on the chain that I just made, it'll open up this little hole bigger. So I know that I just went in there and I don't want to go into that same hole. So I go next door to the left and I go underneath both pieces of yarn for the next single crochet. Yarn over. Basically the yarn's right here, so I'm just passing it across the top of my hook, catching it, and pull it through. If you notice, when I yarn over, my crochet hook goes from facing up to down like that. And then it captures the yarn in the little space inside the hook, and then I scoop it through the last 2 loops. So I'm going to go across and I'm going to go underneath every chain, and this is the second pass that I'm making with the single crochet. And this is actually the way that you're going to make the rest of your crochet sample. And I'm sure that you should all work on a sample board before you waste your yarn and try to make your good copy, because you should know how to do the at least the single, double, and triple crochet before you start your good project. How do you know that you've gone all the way to the end? There isn't any horizontally lying down like chains to go into, so you know you've reached the end. There's no more places to hook onto. Chain 2, 1, 2, flip the piece over, so that's this little piece right here, the work goes from right to left, and then work your way across from right to left again if you're right-handed. I chain 2, so I'm going to skip those 2, and you just go underneath the chain once again, yarn over, pull through, yarn over, and pull that yarn through the 2 loops. And you continue to go across again and again. And when you create a crochet sample that looks like a square, you've done enough to show that you've mastered single crochet. So then at that point, stop and end your work. And I'm going to show you how to end your work. It's very, very simple. Okay. I'm looking here, and I want you to do the sample just so that you understand and know what to do when you get to the end of a row. Yarn 2, and you flip the piece over. And then I'm going to do one more. I skip the 2 that I chained and go under the 3rd chain. I'm going to work my way across again. If I'm right-handed, I always work from right to left. That's why I flip the piece when I get to the end, because I have to continually work from right to left. Okay. So the single crochet stitch is a very tight stitch. It will keep you warm if you make hats out of that. If you pull too tightly, however, the piece, basically you're creating a piece of cloth by crocheting. It'll be very, very tight, so, and not very flexible. So try not to pull too tightly on your yarn. Now if you look here, it almost looks like you got two thick rows of single crochet. They're about 3/4 of an inch tall. Just so that I think you have the idea of what to do, I'm going to tie this off. So I would do maybe 3 more rows so that this looks more like a square, maybe like 4 more rows. But just for the sake of going on to the next thing, I'm going to stop here. Cut about a 4-inch tail of yarn. Yarn over, and then pull that loop all the way through now, all the way through, okay? And then you pull it tight, and that's how you finish any kind of crochet project, whether you're making a hat or a scarf or a sample, and then trim it. And then you're going to take this piece, you're going to hold on to it, and when you're done all your other samples, you're going to glue it onto a piece of mat board and label this stitch, crochet stitch, as single crochet.